Old still chat here, I gotta fix that. Pretty soon I'll clear out the little chat window on the side. I mean, I could pretend that that was a lively chat going on right now, but it's not. Hey, hi, I'm Eric. I'm making a game. It's called The God Killer. I'm here on a Tuesday evening doing what I do. Usually around 6 p.m. I'm starting early. I'm starting around 5:05 p.m. in the Pacific Standard Time, and I don't think that's going to upset anybody at all. I don't think that's going to inconvenience anyone. Of course it won't me, because I am anxious. I am anxious to get back to coding. I just got off work. I'm home. I'm relaxed. I do this thing. Why do I do it? Do I do it to better myself? No, I don't do that. There's so many different ways you can improve yourself. After a certain point, you stop worrying about improving yourself. You just pick the things that you like to do, and you do them because you can't help but improve yourself by doing that. So I don't have a career goal in pursuing this project. It is inherently enjoyable. And the thing I'm going to make is an expression of me. It will be a game that somebody else wouldn't make. It will be my game. It will have things in it that I think are cool, that I think are fun, or thought-provoking. So that's what The God Killer is about. That's why I do it. And what else? Oh, the schedule. Monday through Thursday, I'm going to do live coding sessions like this one. I start off every live coding session with a little demo and a little bit of nonsense like what I'm doing right now. A preamble, you might call it. And if you don't like live coding sessions, no problem. You could also come Sunday, 3 p.m. if you want to get in on the live session and see the game. But I'll use that time for tasks other than writing code, so level design, artwork, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to give you a demo of where the game is right now, what the current status is, and I do that before I jump into all the live coding stuff, because some people just like to check the beginning part of each video to see where I'm at, and I want to make that easy to do. So let us take a look at the game. This is The God Killer. It's written in Unity, C#. It's a top-down puzzle solving game, and I mean puzzle in the proper old sense, where there's a problem with a limited number of solutions, and you have to devise through logic deduction something what that solution is, as opposed to the more modern around 1990s definition, which for casual games, which had to do with pattern matching and match 3 games. But it seems like that definition is kind of fallen out of favor, and now we're back in times where puzzle actually means something you use your brain to figure out a particular solution to. So recently I've added these new character models and animations. I've improved the trails. The trails are those streaks of light that appear off to the side. And last night I was working on this thing which you see just kind of sitting there in the middle of the game. It's the start of a explosion animation, and it's sitting there because that's where I happen to be working on it inside of the level. It's not hooked up yet. I did succeed in creating a pool, not a swimming pool, a pool of explosion instances. So the idea is that everybody in this game, the player, these guys which I call brawlers, the enemies, when they're born, they get kind of like a death twin created alongside them. So if I know that I've got, say I know that I have 4 of these guys in my level. When the level's created, I know that these 4 guys are all going to need their own instance of a death animation. And that death animation will stay hidden until the time of their death arrives, and then that animation will move to the square that they're on and become visible and begin playing. And when that that death animation finishes playing, and it's like a particle explosion. It disappears, and it goes back into the pool. Which by pool I mean, like, if you're not familiar with computer science terms, think of like the labor pool. People go in and out of it, right? So it's a collection of resources. So the death animation goes back into the pool, and then it's not destroyed. That's the important thing. It's not created and destroyed repeatedly, because for performance reasons, that's a bad thing to do. So I'm avoiding that by just simply reusing these animations. And I got the pool working, which was pretty neat for me. And that was hopefully the hardest step in this next part, which will be actually making the death animations come alive and blow up when I smash up my opponents. And you may get a chance in this session to see that happen alongside me. You might get to share in the triumph and the glory of me making the enemies explode in a storm of techie, blocky particles. And I hope you do see that during this session, and I hope that we enjoy that moment together, or even maybe separated by time. You may watch that moment later on while I'm not actually enjoying it, but that will still be, in some ways, a sharing of a moment between us, even though we've never met each other, and the exact timing of the moment varied. Alright, let's get to coding. Problem with these energetic intros is it just goes right into an activity that is nothing like that. So it's like I just did 20 jumping jacks in a fairly energetic mood, and then I just got into a hot tub. So now we're entering into a more contemplative space. So here's my sploder pool. I call them sploders, short for explosion. I know that it's been created. It's created here. It's initialized with everything it needs from the board. That's all good. And I made little notes. About what I needed to do. And all this stuff is done. Check, check, check. Or I could just say sploder pool. Done. Okay. Sploder. Being able to take a sploder from the pool, move it to a certain square. This is the coordinates for the square. Have it face a certain direction. Have it be a certain type of explosion. Let me show you briefly. What the actual explosions look like. So there's different ones, but depending on how the person dies, I'll show a different one. So I've got this little slider where I can move it between the start and end states of the animation. That's something I just use for the editor. It's not really a setting. It's just a thing I can just test out real quickly in the editor. I can change the orientation. Now he's facing south. I can make him turn west. So the idea is these exploding bits would get overlaid on top of like one of these enemies, like right before they die. So the orientation should match their orientation. Then immediately I play whichever animation is appropriate. So if they've got kind of a forward motion, they're walking onto some spikes, then I do this cardinal one. I might just rename it to forward. cardinal meant it can point in any of the 4 directions, but that's true of the other ones too. If it gets hit by a beam, I have an in-place explosion where it just sort of disintegrates in place. Let's see a little closer. If I want this big dramatic explosion called Omni, it just goes off in all directions. Vertical slice, which is kind of neat. It's actually not a bad materialize effect. I just have it go, then the guy appears there in that same spot. That'd be kind of neat. I might use that around the egg. And then there's the horizontal slice. Some particles go left, some go right. Trample is like if something lands on top of the dude, it kind of smashes his particles onto the floor. And ceiling bonk, something happens, it pushes him too far up against the ceiling, and it's sort of like trample, it smashes his particles up against the ceiling. So I got my basic animations pretty well covered there. So I know what I want to write next. Definitely know what I want to write next. It's the start method. Take out all this code. What the heck? Ugh. That's some weird thing with this ID. I really want to try. I want to try this new ID called Rider. You know, I think I think maybe I should do a stream where I just try out Rider. So I've been hating on this Visual Studio Community Dumbass Edition thing that's included with Unity because it just is so weird and buggy. And I would gladly pay for the full version of it if the problems I had with the community edition was just it was missing features. But when the basic that's what I should call it, not functionality, fucked up functionality is all fucked up didness. Yeah, I don't want to keep going with it. So yeah, I'd like to try out Rider. I just saw it announced on the Unity Asset Store, Rider as a Unity specific version. I don't mind paying $150 a year or whatever it was for it, if it really is like the best thing. Okay, so things that it needs to know. Things that it needs to do and know. Okay, so let's do the setup. You say direction equals this direction. set up. Then we got to move it to the display square and start it animating. Okay. I will need to remember the pool because later on I'll be returning this to the pool. So right now the exploder has been given to me by the pool, and I need to just save it to return it back later at the end of the animation. Okay, let's see. I'll give it another parameter. Duration. Float duration. Be how long I want this thing to play. This transform position equals vector do I have just a I think I already wrote this, let me check. Yes, I did. Good for me. It's a mono behavior, so I don't really want to use start. That would be ambiguous because start means something else for a mono behavior. So let's see. Let's just call it explode or explode. Okay, so I need something that tells update that I am animating. And I think I also need to keep track of the time the animation began. So let's start time. Okay, so far so good. Do I have an update function already? I thought I wrote one. I did. it's just not really correct. So let's say if is exploding elapsed, it's going to be now minus the time my animation started. If elapsed greater than duration, and set the animate value all the way to the end, which is 1F, and trying to think. An easy thing is to kind of clean it up and hide it here, but I want it to have one frame to display its final state. All right. So what I can do is I can say that if my animate value, this whole thing though, if I was going to use like the animate value as a way of determining if it's had a chance to display the last frame, but I don't like using a float comparison. That will be iffy. It's not very precise to compare floats for given values. Alright, so let me write it the kind of naive way to begin. I'll get that logic in place anyways. So that'll give me a value between 0 and 1 for my animation value. 0 means all the way at the start of the animation, 1 means all the way at the end. And I can say exploding. Okay, it came to me. It came to me. How to do this. So if Okay, take that out actually. Let's see. Let's update the positions. Is done exploding equals true. This will signal my cleanup, but it'll happen on the next time that the update's called. Yes, so that will let me do all that stuff there. No, I can do better than that. I don't need that extra value. I can go like this. Okay, then the positions are updated. No, I do. Okay. So set that to true, and then up here we'll say if is done exploding. And that way it'll definitely clean up on the next frame. Everything happens so fast with all these animations that I feel like I can't afford to lose even one little frame. So we do is exploding equals false, is done exploding equals false, Object util. Hide game object. Let me remove it from the pool. Exploder pool. I thought I have it up here. Did I make it? Oh, I just called it pool. That's fine. Pool. Or we add it to the pool, actually. We add it back to the pool, so it's ready to be used again. This. Okay. Go ahead and add this guy. What if this worked the first time? I would be a god. Okay, so if it's not exploding, it's not done exploding, it doesn't do anything, just falls through here pretty quick. I could do a little bit better with this code. I can simplify it and make it more efficient if I just do there's basically 3 states here. So I just need to make a like a variable that can have one of 3 values. And I just yank this and say private state. Hey, belligerent potato. Let's see. You making progress on your exercise last night? I'm doing pretty good. Happy to come back to this. Cool. Just continuing from where I was before, and hoping to get my explosions hooked up. So yeah, about 15 minutes ago I was ranting about Visual Studio 2. I think Microsoft has made some incarnations of Visual Studio that were good, and I just don't know if their C# one is that good. I want to try out Writer for Unity, which is by JetBrains. 2019, yeah. What's this one? It's it's 2019 Community Edition for Mac. Oh no, I guess it's 2017. Oh, I just assumed it was 2019 because it was installed with Unity, but it's not how it works. Okay. Yeah. See, it's doing something weird even as I speak. Something weird and unpredictable that threatens the whole health of my project. Yeah, I think this weekend I'm going to try out Writer. And if it's good, I will run away from Visual Studio with like tears of joy. Tears of joy. Okay, so this will be cleanup. And I might as well make this an else if. Or, you know, even better, since it's in an update loop, I'll say if state equals the most common state of all will be wait. Just exit early for performance reasons. Okay. And if it's cleanup, do that, exit early. Now at this point I don't even have to do an if. I just know that it must be my final of 3 states. So I just write an assertion there. That allows me to reduce the number of comparisons I do on each one of these update calls, which is called every single friggin' frame. Alright, so this I'm pretty happy with. That doesn't mean it will work, but it's got a chance of working the very first time, which is always exciting. Oh, and I gotta write the code that actually calls it to make it explode. So let's see. Have some effect logic. Piece squashed. Get rid of this. So here I need an instance to the pool. I'm just thinking of like a performant way to get that instance. What I could do is create like a static variable that's shared by all the instances of the class, which will be my pool. I'm really glad that I don't have to think about multi-threading issues. In Unity I don't anyways. Alright, let's say private static exploder pool get exploder pool. It's basically a singleton pattern. Exploder pool is kept by the main object, so I need to get the main object. I've done that before. I should have some other code that already does that. But main is a really bad keyword to look for. Really bad. Yeah, here we go. Find main object. So let's go back. If pool not equal null, just return the pool. Otherwise, no, do it this way. Pool is null, and set pool. Expose that. And just make it public. Then it'll show it up. If I make it public there, it'll show up in the inspector, and that's clutter. So I'll just make an accessor. Public exploder pool. So we say, maybe I'll just encapsulate this a little further. I'll just say get exploder. There, I like that. Okay, exploder. Get it. This is probably all worth encapsulating someplace else or refactoring somewhere else, but I'm going to come back to that. So then let's say exploder explode. Direction, explode type will be cardinal, duration will be I can actually make it really long if I want. because it doesn't stop anything. I'm going to start with that. And then so to find the direction of this thing, I'd have to look at its transform. But just for now, just to get it moving, just start with north. So much new code. So the thing is, like, even if it works, like, there's so much going on here that's new. I just feel like I'm not going to feel relieved until I've walked through it. I'm not going to feel satisfied that it's working right until I do that. Now, what's the build error? Oh. I think I know what this is, and I don't like it. So it's not like a... Show me there. Another example of the IDE being very unhelpful. So it tells me I have one error. Will it tell me what the error is? No. It will not. It will not. And I've kind of lost faith in Visual Studio, knowing what state it's in. Let's stop debugging, yes. So I'm just going to exit entirely out of it and come back into it again, in the hopes that it will find itself. That it will climb to the top of some mountain top and search into its soul and figure out if the error is me or it. If it is me, that it will give some explanation so that we can learn from each other. I can learn mistakes that I've made and how to correct them by listening to my IDE. I'm going to do clean all again. Going to build all. Now it worked. See? Sometimes it's not really my fault. Sometimes it's Visual Studio's fault. I'm willing to acknowledge when I've made a mistake. I'm willing to correct my mistakes and learn from them, but sometimes it's just not my mistake. Okay, P-squash effect. Got the breakpoint set. Let's get the debugger going. And instead of me constantly moving this, instead of me walking over to do this a million times, let's just set things up so I can kill the dude real simple. Make sure the prefab is updated. Okay. I still want to keep this thing on the board because it's kind of a useful design tool, but I'll move it out of my way. There we go. That should do it. Let's try it out. Alright, so I just started myself right next to the guy so I can kill him in one turn. Okay, here we go. First off, can I get the sploder? Can I get the sploder pool? Yes. Let's see, does it have like six entries in it? Yes. All good. Can I remove one valid instance from the pool? I don't know. Oh, I haven't returned yet. Okay. There we go. So yeah, I've got the sploder, which is basically a game object or model behavior derived. Now I can walk into the thing which sets up the explosion and starts it. Direction should be north. Pool should be non-null. Good. Explode type cardinal. Duration 1 second. My CRH, yeah, that's healthy. Okay. Now, as soon as I step over this, I'll lose my ability to preview the animation. Is there anything else I want to see while I'm in here? There is the update logic underneath. think I'm just gonna hit play. Because everything looks good. I'm curious to see what happens. Alright. Who knows what it did? Because, you know, I walked back over to it and let's see if I can get it to happen again. Okay. I see a few things going on there. The game object was displayed in the correct location. There's also this object that I had hidden that was shown that I didn't really want to be shown. I did see something like the animation kind of in place. I think the dispersal distance was not set. So let me fix some of these things. First off, there's this box that's around him. I only put that box there as a way to offset, so I don't actually want that box. I had it turned off, hidden. I just turned off the renderer, but the truth is I don't even really want it to render. I only there's like some functionality of Pro Builder that was useful in fixing a problem with the offset. So I only added that mesh there to do that. I'm wondering if I can just remove everything except for the transform, and if it will still keep the offset behavior that I like. So let's save this. Let's save the project because I might be about ready to screw something up. Okay. I just took everything out of there. So the question is, did I screw anything up? Particularly if I put it in the prefab and pull it back out. Okay, so the thing I'm looking for to screw up is if I rotate this, will it stay on that offset that I want? It does. Huh. Okay. So that should fix that. The other thing I know I need to do is set dispersal distance. Oh, it should have a default of 8. If I go into here, it's defaulting 8 north. Okay. I can get rid of. I don't need to do the debugger right now. You know, I might as well, just so I can see what's going on, just make the duration on this ridiculous. So we'll do 10. Alright, let's try it again. Alright, so it's slowly dissipating. It looks like its dispersal distance was not right. Either that or there's some kind of bug with the calculation of its final thing. It might be the explode type was in place instead of forward. I thought I set that. You know what it is? I know what it is. So if I change the values, I have to recalculate. I feel like since I'm making this so configurable, I might as well set the dispersal distance as well. Just remembering things that are off, or I have to come back to. I don't want to forget them. Explorer pool. To do refactor to Explorer util or something. Used by all effects. To do God, what was it? Oh, handle case where no sploders available in pool. So if you don't remember to handle all the little things while it's fresh in your head, it's so much harder to come back to it. Okay, so now it's slow explosion. Yeah, that's mostly what I wanted. That's what I expected at this point. It was pointing north. Let me see if I can kill a few more of them. Okay, it's not bad. Time to refine. I think for smashing against the wall, I was going to use a different one. That was going to be the horizontal slice. So let's I see. So one problem is I've got the squashed effect, which is too general. I really need a direction passed in based on the type of squashing that's getting done. So let's say direction. Squash direction. So the squash direction, I'll be a little more clear. Squash direction is direction of the squashing thing moving against the piece that will be squashed. So if the squash direction is down, then I'm trampling. I want the it occurs to me I want two pieces of information. I want the direction that the squashing is happening from. I also want the direction that the squashy is facing. It's just annoying because I can't just write if the rotation is equal to, okay, you'll see. Actually, I just need y, so I might as well just get the y value. What? Private static. Yeah. God, I kind of hate this. Let's just do this. So if we just say divide by 90f, convert it to an int, and just to be safe, do percent 360, 360, 360. And then I don't have to do this goddamn floating point comparison. fact, I can do an array private static direction equals direction north, direction east, direction west, south. Gotta keep going clockwise. I always forget what is the friggin' syntax for this assignment. Okay, return. Oh, I forgot the name of it. Okay. Just in case I screwed something up with my trickiness here. Alright, that's probably faster than the if-then-else stuff I was going to do, particularly with the floating point comparison. Okay, that would give me the facing direction if I wrote it right. Let's just call this direction. Alright, that's getting respectable. I don't like everything taking up all that space. I like code to be kind of compact. It's easier for me to scan through it. Other people would disagree. So here, set this to the explode type. And then I know I need to change a few other things, but since I know exactly how to get to them by just finding compile errors. I think instead of passing a direction, because it's almost really just like a Boolean value. Be a lot of extra work to try to determine it. I can either pass a Boolean value, or I can create a new effect type. Let me see where all my calls are coming from. So this is from pushing. This is also from pushing. And this one, squash M-piece at. This is from landing on top. So let's call P squashed the thing that happens when you push something and destroy it, and we'll call trampled what happens when you come in from above, when you land on top of this guy. So then I can just make some simplifications. So which one's this? This is squashed. Just close the other files. Too many files open. This is trampled. Don't need squash direction. No reason to keep track of that. No reason to keep track of that either. Okay, and explode type is going to be tramp. Plain and simple. Only thing I need to hold on to here is CRH. So that simplifies that. All good. I think that's all good. So now let's go make squash simpler too. No longer need to know from what direction the squashing is coming from. Because one of the things that happens when anything gets pushed is they face the direction. They face the opposite direction of how they were pushed. But even then, that doesn't matter for me. All I need is just to make sure that the explosion is oriented according to the facing direction. Okay, so horizontal slice. Build all that. Oh, I forgot. Inside a piece, I gotta go look for the squashed effect versus trampled effect. So Let's change this to trample. Trample MPSat. That should be fine. Oh, I gotta get rid of this. Okay. And squash. Okay. Now, I feel like it's gonna do something good. I feel like this is gonna be a nice moment. It might not be. It might be a tragic moment. Okay, let's see. Is he going to splat? Okay. So that was kind of good. It was kind of good. You picked the right animation. I think like the facing logic might be off. Let me kill another person. I think he'll do that. No. That time I picked the right facing direction. When I say it, I mean the explosion that just occurred, which I'm writing code for. That's the right direction. I suspect there's something about that initial state. Like right after I load and they haven't had a chance to move yet. Yeah. Okay, let's do a trample. Except there's two of them, so one will push me right after I trample the first. So run back over. Yep, it did a trample. Did not do a trample. Well, maybe it did. Maybe it's just this angle. Hmm. Okay. So the first thing to think about is what is it finding the first time this is called, because it didn't look right when I started up. So this guy should be facing north, and if it's consistent, that means, yep, Y rotation set to 0. Alright, so let's start that going again. And then I will kill him. Okay, and I picked the wrong one. I didn't have the debugger going, but at least I know consistently it will pick the wrong one. I'm looking for the particles to spread out like I smashed them against the wall. And I won't be happy until that's what they do. That's not true. I'm even slightly happy right now. Okay. So, facing direction. Y should be 90. I mean 0. Yep. And I expect my Y rotation to be 0. And I expect the direction here to be north. Yep. So that part's good. Well, thinking about that, so maybe I get it mixed around. You could say that if he's pointing north, okay, I've got an idea what it is. It's because he didn't travel at all in any direction. Like, the logic that I've got for pushing is only gonna rotate him around to put his back against the wall if he moves in that direction. So because he hasn't done that yet, it's showing him exploding sideways. So I could fix this in a couple of ways. I could use like a direction of push variable, like I started to do. would mean the inside of the squashing effect I would need to rotate. I would need to set the direction of the explosion based not on the facing direction, but on the reverse direction of the push, or the squashing direction. Or I could rotate this guy around inside of the push, even though there's no visual reason to rotate this particular guy. It would just be kind of like a side effect that I rotate this mesh around as a way of passing information on to the explosion effect, which is an entirely different mesh. But I think I'm leaning towards the second way, because there's a fair chance that I do want to show some brief animation of this guy, like with his arms stretched out or something, right before he dies. So I think that's what I'm going to do. It occurs to me that it's kind of the same thing, what I just described. Because I would need some kind of effect to rotate him, and it might as well be this effect. So let's go with squash direction. And let's say that facing direction equals, it's basically the opposite way of the squashing direction. And the piece needs to rotate you need a new utility method to get rotation for direction, facing direction. Okay, this I can get rid of. This becomes facing direction. Might as well set facing direction up here. Hmm. Hmm. I'm wondering why my logic up here is so complicated. I think it's complicated because I was allowing preserving the other axes. So the x and the z axes I was going to preserve. No. I don't know. Whatever I'm doing, it doesn't feel symmetrical to the previous one. So I'm just going to say get rotation Y for direction. No. Alright, whatever. I don't need to figure out what I was doing before. I just need to know what I'm doing now. Ah. I don't even know what Apex Legends is. I assume it's not a brand of air conditioner. I assume it's a game. Although, an air conditioner named Apex Legend, that would be impressive. Alright. Tag to dir, stick. Okay. Tag to dir. That should do that. It's going pretty well. It's going pretty good. I've got some refinements I'm making to make it seem like it's a little more reacting to the environment that it's inside of. So let's see. Let's build and see the things I have to fix by building. In peace, I should have some errors. Yes. Okay. I'm passing more information to my explosion so that it can explode in a more refined way. Where is... okay, cool. Let's see. Just making some utilities that do a conversion between more or less different coordinate systems. Alright, come on, just build. Then, maybe it'll do something slightly better. Chunk, 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 chunk. Okay. You gonna crash or you can explode? What are you gonna do? Ah, just what I wanted. Okay. So it made the explosion. The explosion's dissipating slowly on purpose so I can kind of debug it. And the important thing was that it made the particles go in the right direction for what I was wanting. Okay. It's going to take me a long time to get all the explosions to happen how I want. To kind of test with all the explosions. So I'll just do something where I make a lot of death happen all at one time by just kind of putting everybody in the same place. Then there'll be a lot of death, a lot of A lot of explosions. Let's just close everybody in a small space. Yeah. I'll add some stairs. So I can also test trampling. All right. I made a death zone. Huh. That introduced some kind of bug. I think I know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. I was rotating the wrong thing. So instead of rotating the main transform, I want to get the offset transform. Now here, it should go the other way. Okay. All right, let me try some trampling. So if I land on top of this guy, was that a trample? I'm not sure if that was. It kind of looked like the wrong animation. Okay. So that's fine. I think that's all good. Next thing I'm going to do is add in for the remaining cases, the explosions for those. All this stuff is done, except for the to-dos. So before I forget about the to-dos, so I'm just checking on the C# DQ, or let's see, C# Q, to see what its behavior is for dequeuing when there's nothing there. Does it throw an exception? Does it return a null value? It throws an exception. So what I could do, so it is worth the debug assertion staying in, because it would be an indicator that I've done something wrong. But I also want the robustness of handling an empty queue state, just in case it keeps my game from crashing. So return null, therefore remove from pool. Then got some stuff here. I could just kind of encapsulate all this. So I'll just make a single call that does everything. It gets a exploder from the pool, sets him up, and begins animating. It also handles the singleton instancing. At some point I'll need multiple exploder pools for different types of explosions. But for now, it's okay. This is going to be a lot simpler. Okay, so then okay, I like that. I can also encapsulate my check for no splitter being available. Okay. Yeah, that'll do it. So, piece trampled effect. Simplify, simplify. So let's add in another effect for dying by spikes. I think I already have it. Piece punctured effect. Movement direction. Okay, this is kind of like the dichotomy I had earlier. So I know I always want it to be the same facing direction. Let's start with that. fact, I'll copy most of this stuff. Oh, just got my braces in the wrong spot. That, and then I might as well do the beam while I'm at it, or the disintegration effect. Might as well just finish out the rest of these. In place. Oh. Exploder, util, explode, duration. Public, static, public. So far, so good. What else is left? Drowning. This one's gonna be ceiling bonk. Okay. Looking through here to see what I might have missed. Okay, that should cover all of the different causes of death. I noticed that one of my animations, it's called squashed. It's going to be confusing to have it be called squash. I'll come back to that. So let's get some more causes of death. Spikes. Yeah, it seems off. It doesn't seem like it's picking the right effect. I think I know what happened though. So if we go to occupy, no, there's the piece punctured effect. So that's the right effect. We've got the right type here, cardinal. I'm going to rename that to forward, I think. So the question is this getting called? Is the direction being set right? If I go to Sploder Util, is it passing along the right thing? Let me set a breakpoint for there. Okay, that much is good. West. Oh, it's not passing along the value. Okay, cool. That's quite all right. Among other things, it's not passing along. Duration. Dispersal distance. Dispersal distance. Oh, come on. Yeah, that should help. A long day. Just go. Just go. That's perfect. That's what I want to happen. That's great. It does occur to me that my particles could look a little cooler. If I just had like a good shader on them, it'd be nice to have them look good in like a variety of different lighting situations. Just playing with these different effects I've just put in. Right now I'm thinking less about the code and more about the aesthetics, because the code's working correctly and it's a good starting point for refining the explosions, because I've got all the explosions hooked up to my different death events. And I could do visual stuff. I could do visual stuff to make the particles look better. And I can see that for sure. I want them to look techy and artificial, but they should look more dramatic than that. And the particles are actually, I have a ton of control over them. They're actual meshes. They're not just like the typical particles, which are 2D graphics that you can use to with the Unity default particle system. So let me play with that. And I'm gonna go save. Oh, also my lighting was super bright because it was still calculating lighting probes. Let me kind of save it in Git, since this is a last known good state kind of place. All the explosions are hooked up proper. Okay, so then I can play with this guy over here. It looks kind of cool to me up close up, which is how I originally designed it. But from the actual distance that it's at, it just doesn't look like much. So I'm just wondering what else I can do to it. I can make all the particles bigger. I'll start messing around with the material and the shaders. I just tried making it kind of stupid, just to see what it's like when it's kind of stupid. Sometimes it's good to make things stupid. Just make all these particles kind of weird. I mean, I know it won't stay like that, but it might lend me some insight. You can see that they've all kind of moved off their initial offsets. Okay, so what if I had an explosion that was based on this stupid thing? What if I told you that we were going to make a stupid explosion? I think it'll look like ass, but that's okay. I'm just playing around to learn things. Let's go to the exploders. Let's make a copy of this thing because I'm going to ruin it. for stupid. Okay. This guy, I'll take him, override what was there before. What? Why would you? Okay. Turn that off. All right. Okay. Now, let's see what this stupid thing looks like. It looks better. Like, it's just bigger. Like, immediately I like it better. And it was supposed to look like ridiculous. Ah, man. And then I've got some bug with the egg. Or sometimes when I get reborn here, I get stuck. So I'll come back and fix that later. I mean, I think I get it. It's just that it needs some bigger blocks mixed in with the smaller ones. I'm imagining that adding more colors in there might be good too. Okay. So I can kind of see what next steps I want to do. Basically, I want to try some different variations on that explosion. And kind of keep track in the same way like an optometrist does. Do you like, is A better or is B better? So when I make changes, I'll save different variations of it, and I'll kind of play with each one. Notice like the things that I like better about one or the other, and kind of evolve to get like the one I'm most happy with. And at some point, I'll say good enough, and I'll just put that in the done pile. And but you know what? I might save that. I might save that for the next session. So I'm feeling a little bit tired, man. I don't know. I'll keep going. I'll keep going till another 10 minutes at least. All right. So let's make this guy a copy. And I'll save it. I'll call it Stupid Blue #1. That'll remind me what was involved with it. Now, the other thing I wanted to try was making this more multicolored. And that's easy to do. I just need to make like some different materials. So let's go into materials. Okay. Change this guy a bit to something different. Let's get a few varied colors to throw in the mix here. I think one really dark one would suit my purposes. Maybe not that dark. Let's not be crazy. Alright, so then go into this crazy mess. And select multiples. That'd be good. I can select lots of multiples. Okay. That's the bright one. Then I get some dark ones in there too. I want the dark ones to only be small small cuboids. That's my theory of what will look good. It's a little bit like decorating a Christmas tree. Okay. Alright. Well, this thing doesn't look humanoid at all anymore. I don't know if that ever was going to help me. Although it does feel like I might be well served to create at least one variation that's more tightly humanoid. Exploders. Update the prefab. Did you retain my changes? Boy, this thing is really messed up. Oh, it kind of looks like it lost my changes. Huh. That's weird. Okay. This might be a pro builder thing. Pro builder often fiddles with materials in ways they don't like. See if it's gonna mess it up again. It did. Alright, so I'll do it the pro builder way. By adding in the stupid materials to the material palette for Pro Builder. So I get irritated with Pro Builder at times, but it is like pretty cool software actually. I mean, considering that Unity did not have anything for creating 3D models inside of it other than, well, no, it really didn't. And now it does. Or at least you can add on Pro Builder for free and get that. That's an improvement. It does sort of make me think that Unity should have planned to have it there in the first place. But on the other hand, like, how do you really compete with, you know, Blender and 3D Max and everyone's preferred tool chains? So what do I know? Okay. Now I'd really like it if this does not change my materials. Cool. That was the deal. I had to use the material editor. Let's try that. See what that looks like. I think that even looks better. Okay, so one thing I noticed is that when I push these guys and they fly across these spikes, the explosion kind of goes in the wrong direction. I know why. It's because when they're getting pushed, they're rotated around to be facing the opposite direction. Alright, it's not bad. It's not bad. I think I'm going to hang it up there. I did get the explosions working like I hoped I would. There'll be more refinements to them. But I'm looking forward to watching a little TV, watching a little American Dad, relaxing for a bit, then putting some dinner together, and then going to bed. So, belligerent potato, thanks for joining me. And for anybody else lurking, you're welcome as well. And I'll see you all later. Boom. Stopping the stream, stopping the stream, stopping the stream, stopping the stream. Right.